me. Today, I am doing a thrift store makeover. I'm a little bit excited. I feel like this is actually one of my favorite series. I did a little digging through my thrift store item cabinets, something you hear a lot of people say, and I found the thing for today. She's here. Oh, peekaboo! It's a little cabinet. What is this actually? Topiary front small cabinet. Okay. Cabinet. Kind of hard to open. It's got little shelves inside. Smells dank. You know? I think it's meant to hang on the wall, but I don't really have much wall space in here. Not really sure right now how I'm gonna actually use this. This isn't one of those items that falls squarely into the ugly category. There's nothing wrong with it, but also it looks like it's been through some stuff. I appreciate the history, I really do. But let's freshen it up. Let's make it bold. Let's make it colorful, because that's fun. The goal for this series is to take something that has been loved, that has lived a life that somebody doesn't want anymore, and give it a new life. Make it fit into this rainbow chaos, you know? And currently it's a little clashing. Oh boy. Problem. The door is literally off the hinges. That's a problem because I'm not handy. I don't fix things. Can I do this? I feel like the door was kind of problematic anyway because it has such a hard time closing. I was kind of worried about painting this because I feel like the paint would just be rubbing off every time you open and close it. Maybe I'll just remove the door. So I broke it. This is fine. I didn't have a fleshed out idea for this anyway, so we can be flexible. Let's get into figuring out what to do with this. Okay, so here's our little lady, the topiary front small cabinet for just
$18.95. Wow!
maybe for an extra $1 I could have gotten a functioning door. Oh, okay. Never mind. It's got a little tree. Oh, it's a daisy tree. Aw. And someone cut one of the daisies and also, seashell is there? Okay. How did that get there? Even though the vintage hand-painted look is really cute and endearing, this is just not fitting into my aesthetic, you know, my 30-year-old toddler aesthetic. Oh, yeah, that's the, busted hinge. Tragic. It's definitely got a good amount of wear and tear going on, so it's time for a refresh anyway. Literally says mid. What does that actually mean, though? Now, when you open the door, you see 3 little shelves, which I noticed are just about the perfect size for my homeless figures. They don't have anywhere to go right now. Wait, what do you mean they have their own dedicated shelf already? No, they don't. It's not rainbow over there, okay? They're uncomfortable. All right, so laying down on the operating table.
Get cozy, my dear.
First things first, I'm going to remove this door because me no fixie, so me going to ditchy. The other hinge seems to be hanging on strong, so I grabbed this contraption from my husband, and apparently this magical little box is exactly what I need to remove these tiny little screws. Oh, it says open. I know open. Ooh, shiny. Lots of tiny screwdriver heads. So I grabbed one that looks like the right size. I don't see the actual handle of the screwdriver. How do you work this thing? You know what? I don't have time to learn today. I'm just gonna use the head of the screwdriver by itself. I asked Jordan about this later, and apparently there's a button inside that releases the handle. Okay.
Oh, how did you do that?
I got the tiny little screws out just the same, and then removed this little closure on the other side as well, which I used my
Pink screwdriver for.
It has a normal handle, thank you. There we go. I'm gonna give this a quick little sand down, nothing crazy. I'm impatient and I want to paint. I'm impatient. So I'm zooming through the prep work as much as I can, vacuuming up all the crumbs. Now there are these little divots left from where the hinges were, and I wanna fix that. So I grabbed some DOS clay, and I'm just using that to smooth things over. I know you're typing already. I know there is a more appropriate material for this. Wood putty, maybe? I'm not gonna go out and buy some nonsense that I don't know how to use when I have perfectly good air dry clay that I can force into a function that it was never intended for. Nobody's gonna know. And yep, that's enough handiwork for me today. Time to make cupcakes. No. Well, yeah, kind of. And look, another function of DOS clay. Perfectly suitable cake batter. Yeah, bake at 350. They're delicious. Disclaimer, no, you cannot eat clay. Please don't do that. I am, however, shoving some clay into a cupcake mold because I seem to remember making clay cupcakes this way. I was absolutely appalled when it came out looking like this. What? What I failed to remember was that I was using a steel cupcake tray and fluffy clay. So not the same as what I'm doing here. But I'm very unaware of that at this current moment in time. So I just keep trying to get the clay to form perfectly smooth cupcake. It's not happening. So I ended up smoothing it out with my fingers before moving on to the next step, which is applying a paper cupcake liner around it. This worked beautifully when I did it last time. But again, fluffy clay, DOS clay, they are not the same. So this did not work at all. The paper was getting all types of wrinkled and smushed. I'm getting a little perturbed at this point, but not discouraged. I'm still determined to make a clay cupcake. So I'm just completely forming it by hand at this point. Then I switched to a silicone cupcake liner, see if I can just get the impression of a cupcake liner onto the clay, which kind of worked, but it's really smushy, really lousy details. So I start adding more depth by hand. This was supposed to be a fast and easy method, okay? I was supposed to be a factory here, and at this point, like, girl, what are you even doing? And now if you actually forgotten what it is we're doing today, hi, hello.
This video is about her.
Don't worry, we'll get back to that. The whole purpose of making this freaking cupcake was to use it to decorate the top of this little shelf. But once I placed it on this little shelf, I realized, either I'm gonna have to make a much larger cupcake, or I'm literally going to have to make like 8 of these if I want to fill up the whole top. As much fun as that whole experience was, I don't really want to do that again 8 more times. So instead, I decided to go hunting through my dessert squishies. I found a giant ice cream scoop, a big old sick moldy looking donut, a nice little cupcake, and then a nice little cupcake. And then I started cutting the squishies down so that they fit nicely into a little dessert arrangement. So it's clear I can either use these or I could hand sculpt 8 more cupcakes. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this. I guess I have a bonus clay cupcake to decorate at some point. Also, by the way, if you didn't know, we are currently in the end stages of the battle between #JusticeForEvan, which I am not a part of, and the Anti-Evan Club, which I am a part of. Evan is clearly a very polarizing character on my channel. Some people hate him, some people love him. Unfortunately, well, it's time to pick a side because the Evan plush is here. So whether you want to snuggle up with him or to punch him in the face, here he is. He's here, he's available to pre-order, as well as an Evan shirt to join with whatever side you're a part of. But the time is running out. There are only a few more days for the pre-order for these products, so pick a side and order a plush and or t-shirt to prove it. Next, I'm hot gluing the squishies onto the shelf. It was not my plan from the beginning to use squishies like this, but I really wanted some nice big fat desserts on top of this shelf, and since I have a few extra squishies laying around anyway, might as well put them to use. I'm breaking out my puffy paint, and I'm going to use this to seal up all the gaps between the squishies and the shelf. Wow, this is like a squishy makeover and a thrift store makeover all in one. It's like a thrift store squish, a squish store make. I was using squishies in a thrift store makeover.
Nobody cares.
Once I got all the gaps filled up and the paint dry, I'm going to go in with some gesso. Now, notice this is acrylic gesso, which is basically acrylic paint, which is an absolute no, forbidden for use on squishies. I mean, come on, we've seen it again and again. We know that acrylic paint cracks on squishies, but the only reason acrylic paint cracks on squishies is because it's not stretchy enough to be squished. However, I'm not planning on using these as squishies. They will not be squished, therefore it should not crack. Their lives as squishies are over. They have officially retired from squishability. After gessoing the entire shelf, it's now ready to decorate. And of course, I'm going to be using some of the Mariah Elizabeth line of rainbow paint, naturally, bringing in the paint palette, and we are going strawberry pink, orange fishy orange, Georgie yellow, pickle green, derp blue, and bumble bear purple. Beautiful. Digging right in, and let's go. Now by this point, you guys know my affinity for rainbow, okay? It's not a secret. I haven't tried to keep it a secret. It's not a surprise. I love rainbows, okay? They're just gorgeous. It is just a perfectly balanced order of colors that creates an aesthetic that I just can't get enough of. So I have rainbows everywhere. I paint rainbows. I organize things in rainbow order. My plushie shelf, my squishmallows, my t-shirts, my kids' books, and art supplies. It's constant and compulsive at this point, and I can't stop. And I like it that way, okay? I don't need help. I don't need intervention. This is the way I want to live my life, so just let me. I'm painting this shelf as a rainbow so that I can organize my figures in rainbow order within a rainbow shelf. So it's gonna be like a rainbow within a rainbow.
Yeah.
Are you seeing it? Are you seeing the vision? And it's not just the shelves and the figures that's going to be rainbow, but the desserts will also be rainbow as well. I hope you like rainbows. Otherwise,
this is not your week.
After one coat of paint, it looks truly terrible. We got a long way to go with this, clearly. So I jumped into coat number 2, and now this is one of those items where my design is actually pretty simple, but because of the size and intricacy of shape and the fact that I've chosen, of course, to do a 6-color gradient, the paint is going to take forever. So settle in, we're gonna be here for a minute. Just when I thought I was getting somewhere, I realized I forgot about the entire underside of the shelves, so that's gonna be addressed. For every single area of this shelf, I ended up doing 2 to 3 like messy coats just to build up the color before even worrying about the blending. At this point, I'm bringing out the surprise 7th color of the scheme,
vanilla cake.
I just wanted to bring a touch of neutral to break things up a little bit and make these desserts look a little bit more edible. And now here we go, it's time for blending. I'm gonna start the very long process of attempting to smoothly blend all the colors together. This was an additional 3 to 4 coats of paint that ended up taking me so long to get an even blend. And oh, look at that, the entire bottom of the shelf is okay. Let's do it again. Now the blending time lapse is honestly kind of sad because it looks like I'm doing nothing. But I was just fiddling and fiddling and fiddling with that blending, trying to make it perfect. I'm obsessive and it's just never perfect enough, but you don't even see the work I'm doing here. Then of course I have to go back to the desserts and get those under control. Finally, I did add some detail to the desserts to bump up the yummy factor. Ugh, gross. So I added some white drizzle to the donut, grabbed my pastel colored sprinkles, plopped those in. Thank you. I added a nice white melty whipped cream to the ice cream scoop, and of course, sprinkles. And then to the cupcake, I wanted to also include some sort of white topping somehow, but not in the same way as the others, so I did this weird half and half thing.
I don't know what it means.
I mean, okay, sprinkles. And grabbing my glossy varnish, I added some naked sprinkles to the naked blue dollop. We didn't really talk about him much.
Hi, friend.
How you doing? I really just needed something there to fill in the space. Is it frosting? Is it ice cream? I don't know. It's a dollop. Okay, it's a dollop, and now it has sprinkles on it. And I'm also adding a nice clear coat to the entire thing to make sure the paint is very durable and protected. Finally, the shelf is finished, and oh, it is looking so delicious. Look at those colors, those desserts, those sprinkles. I could just eat it. I mean, it's got everything: rainbows, sprinkles, desserts, squishies. What else is there? I mean, yeah, there's a few more things than that, but still, it's got some good things. Oh, don't look at the back though. It's ugly back there. It is missing something though. I hear the sound of 20 tiny homeless voices.
It's my figures.
These are my just gorgeous vinyl figures of my original characters. This is a combination of series 1 and 2 of my figures. You can find them at Target and Walmart. They are just the perfect size to place in rainbow order on my shelf and just give them a home they can be proud of. Voila! Oh my gosh. Yeah, some of them didn't quite fit, but still, they look glorious in here. I mean, come on. This is just thick with rainbows and meanness. The characters, the desserts, I'm just so happy to look at this in my art room. It's just too precious. It does make me slightly uncomfortable that there are forbidden squishies right in front of me. I know that they're squishies, and yet I cannot squish them. It's a little uncomfortable. Let's just hope my intrusive thoughts do not win. But other than that, I love this. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!